What's up, guys? It's Skillzerk. I want to talk about something that's been going on for well over the past 20 years in Alaska, and it's got worse within the last 10 years, and then way worse within the last few years. Now, don't get me wrong, I was born in Alaska, it's my favorite state, but there's a few problems I see going on. Now, I've been part of the transgender community for probably almost 15 years. However, the identity building for about 10 years, but the actual community for about 15 years. I've always felt the same, I just didn't actually come out and tell anybody until about 15 years ago. I have medical records proving this. I both have therapy and electrolysis, which is where you get hair removal permanently with electrolysis, and a bunch of our medical records regarding transgender. However, unlike these spoiled people, I'm not rich, so I could never afford my therapies or surgeries, and I wasn't the type person to go and make these Kickstarters and so on to get all my therapy and all that stuff done. I did all that on my own, and a lot of people go and ask for $20,000, $30,000 to get that done, and maybe that's the right step. Well, I didn't do that, but I want to talk about something I find incredibly wrong, something no one is fighting against, and for some reason not seeming to understand. So let's go over this. Also note now that you'll see LillianLennon, the person from our last problem case, who's also involved here. Now, I've been trying to avoid information from that last case, including anything on these people, but somehow everything just keeps popping up in my face. Such as today, on one of the places I like on Facebook, one of the places I like in town, rather, mentioning that LillianLennon was one of the, I guess she's basically one of those empowered people, someone people look for or at or toward or so forth. A 19-year-old was a physical boy, but is actually a woman, so it is a MTF. And I do admit they do seem like a true transgender, no faking there. They are actually a woman. So let's get into this. She's a 19-year-old woman. It says the Alaska vote no. This is the news for NBC News telling us about the vote yes, vote no on the Alaska transgender bill. Now, a lot of people, whenever that last case went on with that kid where they stated that lie, a lot of people knew that there was no evidence on that case. They kept bringing up, why did I feel it would be right to vote yes on the anti-transgender bathroom bill? Now, the bill was not thought out well at all. My reason for stating yes is actually further down in this NBC News thing too. The senator also said, for me, I would have stated yes for the protection of people. However, that also goes into what I want to explain that's been going on for a long time. These people pretend to be bullied. They pretend that if they don't get their way, they're being bullied by others, and by doing that, nobody's fighting against it. They're not understanding that these people are bullying everyone else in the world by pretending to be a victim. They're pretending to be a victim and using that leverage to bully everyone else to get their way. That is a huge problem, but let's just read this and people can understand it better. The Alaska vote no on anti-transgender. Voters in Anchorage blocked Proposition 1, which would have forced transgender to use public facilities that match the sex on their birth certificate. This means that, if you were physically born a man, but your mindset tells you're a woman, you're actually a woman, you're just born with man parts, uh, you're transgender. It's the best I can actually explain that. You're a woman trapped in a man's body. If that were the case on your birth certificate, then you'd have to use a man's restroom, even though you're a woman. Now, to an extent, I fully agree with the fact that if you're a woman, even if you're trapped in a man's body, if you're a woman, you should be able to use the woman's bathroom. I mean, if you're a woman, right? Why shouldn't you be able to use the correct bathroom? There's a problem, though. The bill states that anybody, regardless of if they are transgendered or if they lie, if a 400-pound muscle man wants to go into the woman's bathroom and abuse women, all he has to say is he feels like he's a woman inside, and now he can go into the woman's bathroom with no questions asked. That puts women in a lot of danger. The bill didn't say people that had any therapy, people that were on, say, estrogen or testosterone and blockers and actually going through the process. No, the bill stated that anybody, no matter what they said, no matter what the truth was, they could lie and go into whatever bathroom they wanted. This puts women in a lot of danger. This means that anybody in the world that's an actual man, if he is a man and not even transgendered at all, he's just a muscular woman abuser, could go into the woman's bathroom and abuse women based on the fact that this bill passed means that anybody can go into any bathroom they want. However, if the bill would have said transgendered people that are actually on, say, estrogen blockers or testosterone and blockers, if they're actually in the process of the surgeries, maybe not SRS because SRS is extremely expensive, but people that were in the process of getting changed to the right gender physically, that would make sense to go to either bathroom. As it is, it's extremely dangerous for people. A lot of people will downvote this, but the people downvoting are not other than LillianLennon and her little friends because they get their way by just pretending that they're being bullied and bullying people by pretending to be a victim. Let's go down with this. Here she is again. The one we took evidence of stalking us on like 4 different accounts? Yep, that's her. Apparently she's known well in Alaska because she's the one who passed this proposition. Now, she's 19, so don't get me wrong. There's a reason she didn't have a very educated, I guess, write-down for this. I'm not really sure what words I'd use for that, but more or less, it was a very uneducated bill to pass because it wasn't thought out at all. And, well, if a 19-year-old made the bill, then it's obvious why that is, so we're not going to judge that. Nearly 53% of voters in Alaska cast their ballots in opposition to a proposal that would have required transgender people to use public facilities. That we already explained this up here. I have no idea why they copied that. Basically, they're birth certificate signs. And I already explained that, if they were already like taking testosterone if they are an actual man or estrogen blockers if they're a female, that would make sense for using the correct bathroom. But now that a man can be a man, an actual full grown muscular, he could be abusive to woman man and just say that he feels like a woman, go to the woman's bathroom and harass women. That's kind of that's scary. The fact that they passed a law that now endangers women. And her thing she says down here, let's just go down here. She mentions, where is it in this huge ballot? She says they are claiming to protect the safety and privacy in restrooms, which is what the claim was for both the senator and for I. But here's where she pretends to be a victim. But I think the real factor is targeting transgender citizens in Anchorage. Are you serious? No one said anything about transgender. I'm transgender. I've been for longer than you've been even born. And you're going to state that I'm against myself and everyone else is transgender just because I want to protect the safety in Anchorage? Well, now women are more endangered because now they're not safe in the women's restroom. In fact, where do they go whenever they want to get away from some guy? They don't. They either leave the public place, which puts them in danger because no one else is around at that time. They can't use the woman's restroom to get away from some man. Because the man can just say he feels transgendered without any proof whatsoever, and bam, he can go in the woman's restroom and keep on harassing her. You know what? I'm not even going to go down with the whole rest of this video, other than that's exactly what I wanted to explain. By pretending to be the victim every single time, they keep getting their way. And this has been going on for over 20 years. But the past few years, it's been even more dangerous. Actually, I've thought of making a Kickstarter for getting the money to leave Alaska because I don't feel safe in Anchorage, Alaska anymore, considering that all it takes is this right here. Someone makes a claim. This has nothing at all to do with transgenders. They are claiming to protect the safety and privacy in restrooms. That has nothing whatsoever to do with being transgender. I'm transgendered. I'm non-binary, so I feel like both. So maybe I'm not fully a man, maybe I'm not fully a woman, but that doesn't mean I'm going against transgenders. It just means that I think these logically, or at least I feel that I think these logically out, that it's not right for men that are not transgendered to just be able to say that they feel transgendered and go into whatever bathroom and harass women, or maybe a woman could go into the man's bathroom and a woman can harass a man just by claiming that a man did something when she was in the man's restroom, claiming that he did something that he didn't do, and then he gets into a lot of trouble. That's also why I haven't used a public restroom since this bill has passed. Because all I have to do is go into, I usually use the men's restroom because that is my physical body's gender. Even though I feel more like a woman, I don't feel that they would feel safe if I was going into the woman's restroom, regardless of this law being passed. Now, since I'm non-binary, I guess that means I should be able to use whatever restroom I want, right? If I feel more like a woman at the time and I'm wearing makeup, I can go use the woman's restroom. Well, if I feel more like a boy at the time, I never really feel like an adult man. I feel more like a boy than I would say a man. So it would be more right for me to use a female's restroom. But at the same time, if I was to go into the female restroom, I don't think they would feel right because my looks do not always look completely like a woman. That's basically it. It's just them basically always saying it comes down to the same line over and over. If you go through everything that's ever passed for transgender rights in the last 10 years for Anchorage, Alaska, it's always down to it is targeting transgender citizens. No, it's not targeting transgender citizens. It's that you're not thinking things out. You basically put women in a bunch of danger by passing this law that says that they don't even need any kind of therapy whatsoever. They don't need any medical record of being transgender. They don't have to have anything saying they were ever part of the transgender community. All they have to do is say that they feel it, even if they're lying. And they can use whatever restroom they want and harass anybody. Good job.